Good morning, friends. So, in the last class, I have discussed about the RBD or one-way ANOVA. In that, you had seen how we will write the model for one-way ANOVA and how we will analyze our data in one-way classification. That is one-way analysis of variance, which is also known as CRD, completely randomized design. And then we found that if we are performing CRD and if the effects are significant, then which effect is significant for to know which particular effect is significantly different from another one. To know that, we had calculated the CD value. So on the similar line, today we will discuss about the randomized block design RBD, which is based on the principle of two-way analysis of variance. So what I wanted to tell that this CRD or RBD, particularly RBD, randomized block design, the term has been initially it was used in agriculture, because in agriculture there was mainly field experiments and the fields were heterogeneous. To make the fields homogeneous, the agriculture field was divided into different blocks, and that is why the name come block, randomized block design. In animal science experiments, we usually used to call it two-way classification of ANOVA or two-way analysis of variance. So let us start. First we will see RBD is used when experimental material is heterogeneous. So first requirement for RBD is that if your experimental material, either it is field or animals or whatever experimental material you are having, that should be heterogeneous. If it is heterogeneous, you have to go for RBD, randomized block design. All the three principles of experimental design are used here. So I have discussed when I was discussing about the principles of design of experiment, that there are three principles of design of experiment. First one was randomization, second replication, and third was local control. So we had seen in the last class that in CRD only two principles were used, that is randomization and replication, whereas in case of RBD we are using all the three principles, that is randomization, replication, and local control. Here whole experimental material is divided into homogeneous group. So what our challenge is that you are having provided with heterogeneous experimental material. Suppose it is a field, suppose this is a field, and this field, fertility of field is heterogeneous. Fertility of field is heterogeneous in one direction. That means as you are going towards right side, fertility is increasing. So what you have to do, you have to classify the fields, that is the field you have to classify into different blocks. Why? In order to make these blocks homogeneous as much as possible. So we will try from our side to make it homogeneous. So each of these groups, so the group which we have formed, suppose this is the group. So the group which is formed, it should be uniform in all respects. So that is already we have discussed. We will see one example of animal science also. So in that it will be very much clear to you. Here you can see the number of groups, that is the number of blocks that you have created. The number of groups should be number of replication fixed for each treatment. So just in the next slide we will see one example, then you will understand how the groups are being decided or how the groups are being designed. The number of experimental unit within each group should be equal to number of treatment. So number of experimental units should be equal to number of treatments, whereas number of groups should be equal to number of replication fixed for each treatment. Just see this example. So here you can see this is the example where we are having four breeds of pigs, and that means we were having four breeds of pigs, and we had to test 5 different kind of feed: F1, F2, F3, F4 and F5. So what we did, we classified the animal according to breed. Actually we were having group of animal initially, group of pigs. So that pigs were heterogeneous. They were having different body and different body weight, different body physiology depending on the individual specific individual. So what we did, we tried to make the animal group homogeneous. So how we make this animal group homogeneous? By classifying them into different breeds. So this here you can see the breed B1, B2, B3 and B4. So we classified all the animals as per their breed, breed 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you have to apply the treatment on all the breeds. So what are the treatments? The treatments are feed: F1, F2, F3, F4, F5. 5 different kinds of feed you are having. Now why I have classified it into 4 breeds? Why I have classified, or how we decided that how many breeds or how many groups I should form? So that should be equal to the number of replication for each treatment. So here you can see that F1 is feed 1. Feed 1 has been replicated 4 times. How many times? 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is why the whole group of animal was divided into 4 groups or 4 breeds. So the number of breeds or number of block if in agriculture experiment, number of block, it should be equal to the number of replication that is fixed for each treatment. So here I have fixed replication for feed 1 as 4, feed 2 4. That means for each treatment I have fixed the number of replication to 4. That is why the whole experimental material has been divided into 4 groups. So you have to design experiment in such a way that your number of groups should be equal to number of replication fixed for each of the treatments. Now how just go to the previous slide. So you can see what it is telling: the number of experimental unit, the number of experimental unit, how much should be the number of experimental unit within each group. So it should be equal to number of treatments. So if you want to know how much should be the experimental material, so experimental material, it should be number of treatments within each group. It should be equal to number of treatments within each group. So your group was B1 and your number of treatment was 5. So the experimental material was 5 for each group. So 5 for each group. So this is how we are deciding the number of experimental material as well as the number of groups. So hope this layout of RBD is clear to you. It is very important to understand the layout of RBD or any design of experiment. Once you draw layout and you understood the layout, the actual analysis will be very easy. Now actually what I have discussed there with layout, that I have written it in the word form. The treatment are applied to experimental unit at random within each group. So just see this table. The treatments are applied in each group, that is treatment feed 1 feed is applied to group B1 randomly. Randomly we are applying the treatment to breed 1, and again randomly we are applying treatment to breed 2. So that means within each group you have to apply your treatment randomly. So just try to recall the randomization which we were doing in the CRD experiment. So in CRD experiment, you were putting treatment randomly all over the experimental material, but here you have just restricted your randomization to a particular block or to particular breed or to a particular group. So here that restriction you have imposed. So actually in CRD you are having full freedom to randomize your experiment to any extent, but in case of RBD you have to restrict your randomization to a particular group or particular breed or particular block. Now The number of group must be, we have already discussed, the number of group must be equal to number of replication fixed for each treatment. So how many number of groups? So in the example that we have seen just now, there were 4 groups: breed 1, breed 2, breed 3, breed 4. And how many replication was fixed for each treatment? Each treatment was replicated 4 times. 4 times. That means each of the treatment in a particular group. The number of experimental units, that is also we have seen, the number of experimental units in each group should be equal to number of treatment. So number of experimental units, it should be equal to the number of treatments. So you are having 5 treatment, the number of experimental unit in a particular group should be 5. Experimental material should be 5. That means each breed you should have at least 5 animals. Why? Because you are having 5 treatment. You want to test the 5 treatments. So in each breed you should have at least 5 animals, so that you can apply the treatments randomly to each group or each breed. Then experimental error, this is also very important. The experimental errors within each group should be as small as possible. Suppose I will read it and then we will understand. Experimental error within each group should be as small as possible. Within each group, this you have to remember, within each group it should be as small as possible, and the variation from group to group it should be as great as possible. That means what it try to tell, that the experimental material within group, that means the animals, if animals of breed 1, they should be of similar nature. That means there should be lesser error. Why? If these animals are different, then your true value of feed will not be reflected. Whereas if you want to see the variance between B1 and B2, the difference between B1 and B2, it should be as greater as possible. Why? That is why, because we want to know the effect of breeds. So if breed is different, that will be advantageous for our experiment. So this is how we are creating, or we are making the layout of RBD experiment. Now, okay, the last line, randomization of treatment in each group should be fresh. That means you have to randomize it. We have already discussed this point. We have to randomize our treatment, but it should be within a particular group, and in next group you have to randomize that experiment freshly you have to randomize. That means the randomization of 2 different groups has nothing to do with each other. Now, what is the statistical model? So if you remember the statistical model in CRD, it was Yij is equal to mu plus Ti plus Eij. That means only one classification was there, that was the treatment. Whereas here you can see Yijk is equal to mu plus Ti plus Bj plus Eijk. The second classifying factor is B, that is breed or block. So here you can see what is Yij. Yijk is equal to kth observation from jth block or group. Kth observation on jth block to which ith treatment is applied. So this is the meaning of Yijk. Mu is the overall mean or general mean. Ti is the effect of ith treatment. So whatever treatment you are having 5 feed, so each of the feed effect of first feed, that is ith treatment. Bj is the effect of jth block or group or breed. In our experiment it is breed, effect of second breed. And Eijk is equal to error associated with ith treatment jth block, and which is assumed to be normally and independently distributed. So this already I have discussed in the when I was discussing about the CRD, so I will not go again in the detail. You have to remember, or you are understanding that error should be normally and independently distributed. Now you have to hypothesize. That means you have to make the hypothesis. So there will be 2 hypotheses, null hypothesis and alternate hypothesis. What will be the null hypothesis? Since here the classifying factors are two. The first one is the treatment, that is feed. In this example that we have discussed, the treatment is feed. So we will write our H0, that is null hypothesis, is equal to F1 bar, that is mean of feed 1, is equal to F2 bar is equal to F3 bar is equal to up to ith treatment, up to A bar I, or F bar I, up to ith treatment. Then another, this was for the treatment, another is for block or breed. Suppose you are having 4 breed, just in this example. So you have to write B1 bar breed 1, mean of breed 1 is equal to B2 bar, that is mean of breed 2, and it will go on up to Bj bar, the mean of jth breed. And alternate hypothesis is that the mean of at least 2 factors differ, and the mean of at least 2 B factor differs. So what is, if H0 is wrong, you have to accept the H1, that is alternate hypothesis. Alternate hypothesis is simply telling that breeds are not equal and feeds are not equal. So if you are rejecting null hypothesis, you have to accept the alternate hypothesis. Now just see, this is the way we are applying treatment to the particular. This is the table we are preparing, how we are applying the treatment to different animals. Suppose in this example, how we are applying feed to different breeds. So just this side, if you see in the left hand side, the column 1 factor A, you can consider it as a breed, and the column wise you can see the factor B, that is if you want to consider it as a feed as per our example. So there will be R number of feed, F1, or here you have written B1, B2, B up to Bj, and it will go up to the Br. So in case of breed 1, that is A1, Y11 is equal Y11, Y12, Y11, Y12, and up to Y1j, and it will go on up to Y1b. And this is in the extreme right hand side, the column will represent the total of that particular breed. Similarly, in the second one, this is the column of addition of sum of the breed 2. And like that, this is the sum of ith breed, and here it is up to 8th breed. But you know, you just you try to differentiate between the CRD and RBD. At the time of CRD, I had told you that this column wise summation is having no meaning, but here column wise summation is having also having meaning, because this classification is also important. This classification is also important, and this one, both the classification are important. We want to know the effect of feed as well as effect of breed. So this understanding of this table, I will not go much in detail, because I have already discussed it in detail when I was discussing about the one-way ANOVA or CRD. So I hope this will be clear to you, or you will understand it. Now these are the different meaning of different notations I have already discussed when I was discussing about CRD. So Yij, you know what is Yij? Y1 dot is the total of factor A1 over all the B factor. Total of factor, just try to remember the table. It is the total of factor A1 over all B factor. Y2 dot is total of factor A2 over all B factors. Yi dot is equal to total of Ai over all B factor. Similarly, Ya dot is the total of factor Aa over all the B factors. Similarly, in reverse way, you can see Y dot 1 is equal to total of B1 over all the A factors, and Y dot 2 is equal to total of factor B2 over all the A factor. Similarly, Y dot B is equal to total of B over all the A factors. And Y dot dot is the grand total, that is sum of all the values added over all the A factors and all the B factors. So Y double dot is the grand total. So now directly we will come to the analysis, how we are analyzing. So the proper analysis in two ways. First of all, as in case of CRD, we have to calculate the grand total. So for calculating grand total, you have to add all the values across the breed and across the feed. If you are taking the example of breed and feed, you have to add all the values across the breed as well as across the feed, and we are representing it in the form of summation Yij. Why double summation? Because it is sum across the breed as well as sum across the feed. Now calculate the correction factor. Correction factor, again you have to use the same formula, square of grand total divided by total number of observations. So grand total you have already calculated, you have to square it and you have to divide it with the total number of observation. Now you have to find the total sum of a square. Similarly, we have already calculated total sum of a square when I was discussing about CRD. So this total sum of a square, here I have kept it as A, because there are many factors. There will be two-way classification. That is why handling without notation will be difficult. In last I will show you the preparation of ANOVA table. There this notation will be helpful. So sum of a square due to total will be equal to sum of a square of, or a square of all, sum of a square of all the values, and it should be subtracted by correction factor. So this sum of a square already we have discussed when we were calculating in CRD. Now calculate sum of a square between factor A. Factor A, suppose factor A is breed. So calculate sum of a square between factor A. So what you have to do? You have to sum the breed wise summation. Suppose breed 1. So you have to take the sum of breed 1 and you square it divided by total number of observation plus breed 2, sum of breed 2 square it divided by total number of observation. Like that, sum of breed n square it divided by total number of observation, and it should be subtracted by correction factor. So by this way you will get the sum of a square between factor A, and we name it as a B. So this is how we are calculating the sum of a square between factor A. Now another classification is sum of a square due to correction due to factor B, that is block sum of a square. Block sum of a square, or here you can say breed sum of a square. And the previous one, the sum of a square due to breed factor A, you can say it is a sum of a square between feed. Likewise, the next one is the block sum of a square or breed sum of a square. So this will be noted by factor C. Sum of a square due to breed is equal to summation y dot j square divided by total number of observation in that particular breed. So what we will do, we will sum the breed 1, sum it and then square it divided by total number of a factor, that is feed factor of feed. So you have to be very careful when what you are writing, what we are dividing the number of a factor. When you are calculating B, sum of a square due to factor B, you have to divide it with the number of a factors. Why? For that the layout is very important. If you understand the layout very well, then it will be very helpful to you. You will not commit any mistake. So similarly, we will deduct the correction factor from this, and you will get the block sum of a square or breed sum of a square. Now you got the sum of a square for both the factors, that is factor A and factor B. Now it is time to get the sum of a square due to error, that is also called as within treatment sum of a square. Within treatment sum of a square or residual sum of a square. So how you will get it? Residual sum of a square, it should be equal to sum of a square due to total, and you have to subtract both the sum of a square from this. So sum of a square due to total minus sum of a square due to factor A minus sum of a square due to factor B. So in this way you got the error sum of a square, and it is denoted by factor B. Now Now you have to calculate the variance. Variance means we have already discussed in CRD that variance means mean sum of a square. Mean sum of a square. How we are calculating mean sum of a square? So just you have already calculated sum of a square. You just divide it with the respective degree of freedom. So if it is by the treatment sum of a square, you have to divide it with the total number of treatments. Just see the ANOVA table. Degree of freedom of the treatment. So we will see ANOVA table and then it will be very much clear to you. First we will see the ANOVA table. Here you can see the source of variation, the component of ANOVA table. You know, the first one is source of variation, then degree of freedom, then sum of a square, mean sum of a square and F value. So till sum of a square you have already calculated. So what were the sources of variation? The sources of variation of factor A, then factor B, and third was error, and lastly you have to write about the total. So degree of freedom, you know, it should be the number of factor A minus 1. So A minus 1, and between factor B it should be number of factor B minus 1. So A minus 1 for factor A, B minus 1 for factor B. And what about error? So it should be A minus 1 into B minus 1. If you will calculate it, you will get it A minus 1 B into B minus 1. And what about total? Total is the N minus 1 or A into B minus 1. So this is how you have put it here the degree of freedom. Now sum of a square you have already calculated. Sum of a square between factor A is called as B. Factor A was B. Actually total was A. Total sum of square due to total was A. Sum of square due to factor A is B. Sum of square due to factor B is C, and sum of square due to error we have already calculated and we have noted it as a D. Now you have to find the variance. How you will find the variance? B divided by number of degree of freedom for factor A. So B divided by A minus 1 is equal to mean sum of square due to particular factor A. Similarly, mean sum of square due to factor B and mean sum of square due to error. So this is how you calculated the variance, that is mean sum of a square. Now you have to find the F value. How you will find the F value? You have to calculate the F value, mean sum of a square due to factor A divided by mean sum of a square due to error. So you will get F value by dividing variance of that particular factor by error variance. So mean sum of a square due to factor A divided by mean sum of a square due to residual, that is error. Then means F value for B factor, for that you have to write mean sum of square due to B divided by mean sum of square due to residual, that is error. So now you are having F value for both the factors. F value for both the factors. So just I will go back and you will see the calculation of variance ratio F value. So F value we have already seen, factor A mean square divided by error mean square, factor B mean square divided by error mean square. Now you have to compare the calculated F value with the tabulated F value at N1 and N2 degree of freedom, as we were seeing in the case of CRD. So I think this all we are familiar with it. You know how to see F table. F table you have to see at 2 degree of freedom. Which are those 2 degree of freedom? The F1 at N1, that is numerator degree of freedom, and another one is the denominator degree of freedom. So numerator degree of freedom you have to see the right hand side, and denominator degree of freedom you have to see in the first column. So we have already seen in the last class, so I will not repeat that. Now what are the advantages of RBD? So this is the simplest of block design. You have to remember, actually CRD is the simplest of all the designs. Whereas RBD is the simplest of block design. There are many experiments where we are forming different types of blocks or different classification. We are imposing various restrictions, but RBD is the most simplest block design. Then layout and analysis of design are simple. the design take care of variation in one direction. So when you are having variation in one direction in your experimental material, what was the direction? In our example, it was the nature of animal. So nature of animal, it was a variation in one direction. So what we did, we classified those variation into different breeds. So this design take care of the variation in one direction. If variation is in one direction, then it will be taken care of by RBD. The error variance is reduced by making group of experimental material. So when we are grouping the experimental material, error definitely it will be getting reduced. When you classified the animal into different breeds, the variation will be getting reduced. Then any number of treatment and any number of replication can be used. Here any number of treatment or any number of replication can be used. If you remember, here you have to emphasize that this any number of treatment and any number of replication can be used in case of RBD. By means of grouping, more accurate results are usually obtained than with CRD. So if you are grouping, so when you are grouping, the chances of heterogeneity of experimental material is getting reduced. That is why you are getting more accurate result. Another one, replication means provide unbiased comparison of difference among replicates. So when you are getting replication means also, that means replication means in this case the breed wise means. So breed wise means if you are getting breed wise means this will give you the unbiased comparison of difference among the replicates. Breed wise differences can also be ensured in case of RBD. Now what are the disadvantages or demerits? So I have already told you in previous slide that any number of treatment or any number of replication can be done in case of RBD, but I am contradicting that point here. The number of treatment in RBD should generally not be more than 12. So if it is more than 12, you will find calculation difficulties. That is why ideally it should not have more than 12 treatment. By increasing the number of treatment, the block size increases and assumption of homogeneity within a block is violated. So once you are increasing the number of treatment, the block number will be increased and the idea of homogeneity or assumption of homogeneity will get violated. Then again, when a large number of values are missing, then although it can be calculated, but RBD is less convenient than CRD. So when values are missing, you have to think, because this RBD will not be of much use when many of the values are missing, particularly in animal experiments. In animal experiments, many a times you will see that values are missing due to one or another reason. Now these 2 points I have discussed about the advantages and disadvantages of RBD, or merit or demerits of RBD. Sorry, it is demerit. It is not merit, it is demerit. So merits and demerits of RBD. Why? Because this you will be asked in your annual examination or in your internal examination. Now we will see one example. So the same example that we have already discussed, assume there are 20 piglets and those piglets are belonging to 4 different breeds. Now you have to test 5 different varieties of feeds. So you are having 5 varieties of feeds, you are having 4 different breed of pigs. Now you have to analyze the data and compare the weight gain under different feed and interpret your result. So you have to know the effect of different feeds. On different breeds even. So this is the data given here. I have just summed it in the right hand side column and the lowest row. And here I have calculated the grand total. So grand total is 556. Now we will do the analysis of the first of all we will keep the hypothesis. What is the hypothesis? Null and alternate hypothesis. The null hypothesis is that feed do not differ from each other And second null hypothesis is that breed do not differ from each other. So null hypothesis means there is no difference. Now alternate hypothesis is that at least two feeds differ from each other and at least two breed differs from each other. So first of all, you have calculated the grand total 556. Total number of pigs are 20, that is n is equal to 20. Now you find the correction factor. So correction factor is equal to grand total square divided by n. So you got the correction factor value. Now you have to find the total sum of a square, TSS. So how you will get to total sum of a square? You square each and every value and subtract it by correction factor. So the total sum of a square we have got 572.2. Now the first classification, breed sum of a square. So breed sum of a square. Just see this table. Just see this table, breed sum of a square. So these are the breed. These are the breeds. So this breed sum of a square 107 square. 107 square divided by total number of feeds. So total feeds were 5. So just see what I have written here. So here you can see 107 square divided by 5. Similarly 140 square, 143 square, 166 square divided by total number of feed. So you have to subtract the correction factor from this, and then you got the breed sum of a square as 354. 354. Similarly, you have to get the feed sum of a square. So feed sum of a square, just again see the table. Feed sum of a square, you have to go like this. So 126 square divided by total number of breed 4. 126 square divided by 4. 115 square. 115 square divided by 4. 97 square divided by 4. So like this, just see what I have written here. 126 square, 115 square, 97 square, 100 square, 119 square divided by 4 minus correction factor. So these are the cases when all the treatment, all the classification are identical. That means each feed is being divided into 4 breeds. Each feed, each treatment is applied to 4. There is 4 replication. Then only we will be applying this formula. So like this, you got the value feed sum of a square as 151.7, and then you have to get the error sum of a square. So for that you have to write the total sum of a square minus breed sum of a square minus feed sum of a square. So like that you got the error sum of a square, that is error sum of square as 21.5. Now you got all the sum of squares. You know the degree of freedom. You have to prepare the ANOVA table. Just see how I have prepared the ANOVA table. So this is the ANOVA table. The component of ANOVA table: source of variation. Source of, what are the source of variation? So feed was the source of variation, breed was the source of variation, and then error and total. So how many feeds were there? 5 feeds were there. So degree of freedom will be 4. Then breeds, total 4 breeds were there. So degree of freedom will be 3, 4 minus 1. And error, definitely it will be 4 into 3, that is 12. And total degree of freedom will be 20 minus 1, that is 19. Now sum of a square already you have calculated. I have put the value of sum of a square here. Now you have to find the mean sum of a square. How? By dividing sum of a square by respective degree of freedom. So here I have calculated mean sum of square, which is also known as variance. Now with this you have to calculate the f value. How? F value will be calculated by dividing mean sum of a square with error variance. Error variance. Feed mean sum of a square divided by error variance. Then breed mean sum of a square divided by error variance. So these are the f value. Now you have to calculate, you have to compare the f value with the tabulated value. So here if you see, both these f calculated values are greater than tabulated value. That means the at least 2 feeds are different and at least 2 breeds are different. Now you know the feeds are not same, breeds are not same. So what you have to do? You have to do the calculation of CD value, critical difference. You have to calculate the critical difference. Then you will know which all feeds are different and which all breeds are different. So this is the rejection region. You graphically you can see this is the rejection. The cutoff point was 5.41 and since our tabulated value is greater than that, so we will reject the null hypothesis. We will reject the null hypothesis at 4 and 12 degree of freedom. Now you have to calculate the CD value. So you know the CD calculation of CD value same as that of the CRD. We have discussed standard error of difference into T table value at 12 error degree of freedom at 5% level of significance. So you calculated the CD value as 2.06. Calculated the CD value as 2.06. Now you have to compare whether the mean difference are greater than CD value or lesser than CD value. So you written here all the feeds in descending order. All the feeds in descending order. So F1, F5, F2, F4 and F3. Now you can see I have written here mean, and this is the first mean difference. It was around, if you just guess, it will be around 1 point something. So 1.75 maybe. So this difference is greater than, this difference is lesser than the critical difference value. So if there is no difference between F1 and F5, if you try to find the difference between F1 and F3, it will be greater than 2. So F1 and F2 are different. So likewise, you have to calculate you have to compare the CD value with the mean difference, and then you have to put the underline, or either alternatively you can put the superscript. So this is how you can conclude. Lastly, with this you can compare that from mean body weight, it can be seen that F1 variety of feed gave the maximum body weight. F1 gave the maximum body weight followed by F5. But the difference is not significant. Although F1 is giving highest body weight, but it is not significantly different from F5. Okay. F5 and F2 also do not differ. F5 and F2 is also not differing, but F1 and F2 are differing. Likewise, F4 and F3 were at par, but both of them differ significantly from other variety of feed like F1, F5 and F2. So this is the way we can interpret our result after the calculation of CD value and after application of superscript on the mean. So I hope this is clear to you. With this I am ending here the RBD or two-way analysis of variance. So I think with this we have completed the design of experiment that is required for undergraduate student, and in the next class I think we have left with the chi-square test. So in next class I will be discussing about the chi-square test, and then we will proceed towards the unit 2. Thank you.